So today is the 5th of April 2026, and this is my last day here in India. I've stayed here for almost 3 weeks and had more than 10 presentations of the Shroud in different ministries. And I traveled in Andhra Pradesh state and I visited various places, and some of the pastors they did show me the tribal areas, and I saw truly troubling conditions and situations. I saw people that are literally starving. I saw slaves that worked in kiln factories. I visited tribal areas where people still live like in the jungle in the Amazon in Brazil, uh, untouched areas where people never had contact with outside people, and they don't want actually to have that, and they live naked, they do human sacrifices, there is witchcraft, people in this situation, and pastors visiting these areas, and some being even kidnapped and others being killed. Incredible stories which I saw. But I think that the biggest desire which all of this wakened up in me is thinking, how can we help these people which live as slaves, children which do not go to school, parents that work 7 days a week to get just a meal for not starving in hunger, which have no bed to sleep, working at over 40 degrees Celsius on the outside without bed, anything. Absolutely horrifying conditions. And I asked one of the kiln workers what their desire was, and they said just to have a decent job, just to have a regular job. So these are invisible people because they have not even documents. They are not registered by the government, so the government doesn't even know about them. They have no rights as citizens, and they cannot read and write, so they don't know their rights. And the only contact that they have to others are pastors which visit them and trying to give their kids education, trying to giving them some school. So I was thinking and reflecting at this day, which is Easter, where the Lord died on the cross and then today resurrected the third day. And he said to his followers, go and preach the gospel to all the world. And yesterday, Dr. Roshan from Rajamundry, he brought me to an area at the periphery of Rajamundry, and I took some photographs and made some videos of the condition where these people live. And he and his ministry, they try to help them, giving them instructions how to make a little bit money. They produce some cleaning material, some products which they sell, but that doesn't much help to change their living condition. And he said something which I truly agree. If you don't help them materially to get out of extreme poverty, then it makes no sense to preach them the gospel. The gospel must be uh, preached to them, but it must be an integrated serving. That means also something has to be done in parallel to get them out of their extreme poverty. And I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that. The gospel, it must be preached integrally. That means the physical needs also need to be addressed. And one thing is just to visit a tribal area, preaching the gospel, and then leaving. Another is to truly do something on long term to help these people to get out of extreme poverty. So what sense does it make? Sometimes I think of someone like Elon Musk trying to establish a colony on Mars, which is incredibly expensive, and Mars wasn't made by God to be hosting humans and life when there is that kind of poverty still here on Earth, and not just a few people. India is the most populated country in the world, even more than China. Nobody knows exactly how many people live in these extreme conditions of poverty. But if we put even that it would be 1% by a population of 1.4 billion, that would be at least 14 million people living in extreme poverty and invisible because there is no documentation that they even exist. So I came here to India because I wanted the pastors to learn about the Shroud of Turin, and they received it with such gratitude, such love, and such enthusiasm. So I brought them knowledge, but they gave me also knowledge about their country and the living condition of many of them living in extreme poverty as I've never seen anywhere else. And this morning I was just making a reflection about everything that I saw in this time period, and India also contributed to me, and I'm leaving this country with a lot of impressions. These 3 weeks, they were extremely intense, a lot of traveling in the state of Andhra Pradesh, even going to neighbor states, and I saw many different situations of extreme poverty. And I feel that it is important that the world knows about these people. They should not keep remaining invisible. They deserve our attention and they need help. And it is our obligation, especially as Christians, to do something so that these people can come out of this situation, that they can be freed from slavery, get education, get citizenship, get their documentation, and get jobs. And of course, this is something which requires a lot of time. This isn't a situation which can be solved in a short period of time. It requires a lot of investment, financial investment, also getting in touch with the governments. This is also a political situation, and the troubling thing is that it is special those which are politicians, which are rich, which explore the extremely poor. So it is also a cultural problem. It is a problem that so many simply do not care about these people and live as they do not exist. But I saw them, and what impressed me so much in many places when I arrived, the first to greet me were the children. And I saw so much beauty in these children. And someone told me the Indian children, they are the most beautiful on earth. And I have to agree with that. They are so cute and uh, such a wonderful smile in their face when I arrived, and greeting me with "Praise the Lord, praise the Lord." I mean, it is so much richness in these people. They are so bright, so intelligent, so kind, and I have truly seen genuine being Christian being lived by these people. They pray with such intenseness. I've never prayed for others so many times as in this time period here in India. I must have prayed and blessed hundreds of people, and at some churches I stayed so much time to pray for others that I arrived exhausted at the hotel, and some with tears in their eyes while they were praying, you know, and I am praying for them, and that shows how their faith is so genuine, so genuine. And in some places I arrived, I didn't know what the program was of the pastor. We arrived at some tribal areas, and they received me, and I was so honored by them. Some washed my feet, and so beautiful expressions of gratitude and love simply for visiting them. And I'd say that most of the ministers and churches and pastors that I visited, they had never any visit from a foreigner, from a pastor or so, from a missionary or so. And the gospel arrived in most of these places maybe 50 years ago maximum. And many pastors, they are the second generation, and they have very little instruction, and that's why they were so grateful for the knowledge that I brought to them, because they never heard about the shroud. They never heard about the shroud. And I met some pastors which said, I am 25 years a pastor and I've never heard about this. That's the first time. And they were so truly grateful for that. So this was a very profound and deep exchange where both sides were enriched. I brought them knowledge about the Lord, and they gave me knowledge about their lives, their ministries, and the living situation in tribal areas and people enslaved, living in conditions which nobody nobody deserves to live in. So I have a deep burden in my heart now, praying to God to direct me what I can do, and I think the first thing that I can do is simply to make others known about what I experienced, what I saw, and maybe also bringing a wake-up call to others, feeling that something has to be done. I think this is a structural situation which needs to be addressed and has to change. And I think today there is so much money in the world, and there are so many rich people which have the conditions to help and to do something. And I think the best is to work together with people from here, which have also this understanding that it is needed to help those which are on the lowest level of society in terms of any kind of financial situation and dignity, So they need to really have help from outside because they cannot help themselves. They are just grateful when they can get a meal on the table. And what really most impressed me was Pastor Joseph Fusala's ministry in Gudivara. He showed me tribal areas and explained that these people, they work on the harvest fields of the owners of the land just for having the right to be there, to have their houses, which are not really houses but just tents made by natural materials on the side of the road, and starving. I mean, when we left one of these places, pastor, he stopped and talked to one of these people, and it was seen literally on their face how they were starving and having hunger and no food. So I'm recording this just to show others that the situation in India, it is a very rich country. I was also surprised about how intense that agriculture is. It seems that every corner here was planted with all kinds of crops and palms and trees, all bearing fruits and means actually to have food for everyone. And the food is cheap here, but nonetheless people are starving. And I think that there can be done something. And what is needed is that those which literally don't even know what to do with their money, there are so many millionaires out there. Many don't have time to do what I did, to come to a place like this and see the situation and living condition of these people. But I have come here and I desire to be a bridge. I think what we need is to use well our time, and my time, I want to spend it to be someone that shows this situation to others and being a bridge to those which desire to help, and doing something to help these people in an integrated way. So that means helping those which live here in India, which reach out to them, helping pastors and ministers which have a burden to help these, to equip them with the possibilities that they have, which are much wider than someone like me, which comes from the outside. They actually know the situation much better than I, which just arrived here, which just stayed a few weeks. I saw the situation, but I don't know all the details of the background, but they know it. So I think important is to work with them, to filter out which ministers have a true heart to serve and those which are not so honest. And I've seen so precious, loving, and caring pastors which do the ministry with genuinity, with love, with honesty, with integrity, and they deserve support as well. There are pastors which also are starving, which don't know how to make a living. So these also need and deserve our support from the outside. So I leave this. A true mission means not only to go to preach the gospel, but to help people to get out of their situation, as I've seen here in India. And I hope that God can use me, but also that my videos and everything that I recorded here can um, provide a burden and desire of others to help. And certainly I think that help can and will come when the right people are met, which have the conditions and financial means to help here. So today is Easter Sunday, and the Lord was risen almost 2,000 years ago. He rose from the dead, he's alive, and he inspires those which follow him to go to preach the gospel, but also to help those which are in this situation. That's what I desire, and I hope that I can have inspired you a little bit to see maybe a little bit beyond the current borders of yours. And I hope to be able to open the eye to many in regards of what is going on here in India, and there are possibilities to help. God bless.